Are you happy with AI in 2021? Do you feel like you're being cuddled by AI systems? Do you feel like Iron Man? Do you feel like you have Jarvis helping you do things? I don't know. I don't feel like it. I feel more like I'm being scammed, honestly. And I want to talk about it. I want to talk about more precisely about GitHub Copilot. So I'm assuming everybody knows what Copilot is, but you know what? I'll try to give an introduction to it, maybe for people in the future. So, hello, Amazon citizen. This is a video from before the global Amazon merger of 2056. Might seem hard to believe, but today we still have different companies, and one of these companies is called GitHub, which, by the way, GitHub was bought by Microsoft, one of the first companies to fall one of the first companies to be merged in 2056. Anyway, GitHub has a bunch of products and services for developers. At its core, it's a Git hosting service, but it also offers things like GitHub sponsors, which is nice. It's a way for people working open source to get money from I don't know, fans, I guess, from the audience. They also do other things, and one of these things is GitHub Copilot. So GitHub Copilot is a AI system based on based on another model that I believe is from OpenAI. But what it does is that you open your text editor, you start typing a comment, and in your comment, you describe what you want Copilot to write for you. So you ask, I don't know, I need a quicksort implementation, right? It happens very often, right? You drop into a new project and you say, oh, holy shit, I totally need a standard quicksort implementation here. And now I'll have to write it all by myself. I have to get books from the library, start researching, start finding out, is it worth randomizing the pivot? Not. Depends on the project, but but now this is obsolete. Now what you can do is just say, please give quicksort, and Copilot will write it for you. Now, the problem is that the AI system that powers Copilot in a more general environment is kind of impressive. Like, there have been other interfaces where you can collaboratively come up with a story with the AI, and the thing seems to understand a little bit more than it should. At least that's the feeling that I had when messing around with it one of the first times. The problem is that when you are programming, you need to be more precise. Like, something slightly off, it's not good enough. When you're making a story, the AI occasionally can toss in extra concepts out of nowhere, go meta a little bit. Maybe you start thinking that the AI is high on something, but aside from that, it's all good and fun. When you're programming, there are some horrible side effects. And this is probably the moment where in the video, I am superimposing a bunch of tweets showing all the stupid things that the AI comes up with. Now, this is one point. So, long story short, from a practical perspective, it's kind of useless. At the same time, though, if you ask journalists, apparently this is the future, and developers are about to become obsolete because an AI is going to replace them. No, it's not going to happen. Journalism, now that I think about it, we should actually 180 turn it on them. I think that there are better chances that journalism can be replaced by something like Copilot before we get replaced. I mean, anyway. So that's Copilot for you. Is this the end? Well, I mean, so why is GitHub doing these things? I have no idea. They clear, like everybody else, they believe things that they read in journals or on the internet, I guess, and they believed, or somebody at Microsoft believed, that it's important to invest in AI, yay, and so they invested in this thing. is it really of practical use? Not much. What it does, like the real practical use that it has, is that it produces a bunch of noise and PR for GitHub and Microsoft. Here I am talking about GitHub, talking about Microsoft. This is not gonna save them from being merged in 2056, I promise you. But it helps one or two executives buy one extra yacht before we get there. I mean, it's fine that they want to live a good life until the inevitable end. That's cool. But the price for this marketing stunt is bigger. So how do you train a AI on source code? You feed a fuck ton of source code to it. Where do you get that much source code? Well, would you look at that? It just so happens that GitHub hosts a lot of source code that is publicly accessible. Now, is it public domain? No, there is a copyright. And in fact, they took basically every single public project. They did not filter out based on licensing. So some licenses would allow them to do what they did with the training. Some others, maybe not. So basically, there's everything in there. And some people have complained and I've said, well, there is a copyright on my stuff and you didn't ask me for permission and I didn't give it to you. So should you be allowed to build a product out of my source code? And the problem is that from a legal perspective, I guess it's muddy because the AI is not exactly always providing everything verbatim as the AI, as the same input that the AI received. So should it be considered fair use? Kind of complicated. Lo and behold, if you ask GitHub lawyers, they say that everything is legal, of course. But regardless, people did get pissed off by that. I would say even understandably so. So that's one thing. So you have a platform which is supposed to host open source projects. It's the most popular platform for open source project, and you ignore the license to train your goddamn useless glorified Markov chain. Fine. And actually, on this point, so the website is fairuserify.ml. So this website claims that, well, if you can get fair use via machine learning, so why don't you upload a copyrighted song, watch the AI learn to play the song again, and that's it. The AI has learned to play the song, and now it's fair use for the thing to replay basically the same song back to you. That's funny. Obviously, tongue-in-cheek, they don't believe so. It's a critique to what GitHub is claiming. Is this it? Well, not really. Not only is this thing trained on copyrighted source code, but you know what happens on GitHub, right? Occasionally, people mistakenly upload secrets, and boy, does Copilot love secrets. It's like it's Scooby snacks for Copilot. So if you ask Copilot to generate a template for something that normally contains secrets, apparently people have been able to have Copilot also generate secrets for them. But long story short, apparently a few services could be accessed by tokens generated by Copilot. So that's another one. So you have this open source platform. You kind of should be, serious about it. But why be serious when you can be fun and AI? So let's be AI fun and take a bunch of copyrighted code, take a bunch of secrets, mash it up together, and feed it to the people. I don't know. It seems a bit like a scam. So we were promised AI in the 80s, I believe. Computer science didn't deliver. It's 40 years in the future now, and this is what we're getting. I'm not happy. That said, I am optimistic because despite all of this, despite the fact that I said it once and I'll say it again, because to me it seems like, at this point it seems unsurprising, but big tech is unable to deliver nowadays. Maybe it was able to deliver in the past. I would say certainly was able to deliver in the past. Today, it seems to me it's crumbling under its own weight. Like, what is this garbage? What is this garbage? Completely useless. Who is instead, but is there anybody actually delivering value with AI? Glad you asked. Yes, turns out that there are some people who are actually doing useful things with AI, or in their case, the use case is a little bit more constrained, and we can say that we're doing something clever with computer vision. Who are these people? Well, it's cheat makers. It's people making cheats for multiplayer games. So in the past, apparently, if you wanted to cheat in a game, you had a program running in your computer that was looking at the memory space where the game was running, and it would basically fetch information and show it to you, the player, information that you shouldn't be able to have access to. For example, being able to see through walls. Conversely, there were also other systems like aim assist, where the program can hooks into the input system, and it basically it magnetizes your cursor on the enemy's head, making it very easy to click heads. So these are just a couple of very common examples. There's a lot more, but the point is, all these cheats have a problem because they run on the same machine. They can be detected, and so there was, for a long time, there was this arms race between video game makers and cheat makers to one-up one another, find ways of doing things without being detected. And when you install a game, like if you install Counter-Strike or any other multiplayer game from Valve, you have to use VAC. I don't know if my pronunciation is the correct one, but you get the idea. There's all these anti-cheat systems. Now, what have some people done? Well, they put computer vision to good use, and in my opinion, put an end to the arms race, at least in some ways. So the idea is that you have a computer with a game running, you have an HDMI out going into a capture card in another computer. The second computer is the cheater computer. That computer has software looking at the video input, basically, recognizes where enemies are, and also producing input data for the original computer. So it's not just an HDMI cable. I guess you need something else too, a USB cable. But the point is that since it's an external system, it's undetectable, at least not as easily, right? Because it's not software running on the same computer that an anti-cheat with like privileged access to the OS can detect. And I think it's very clever. Unfortunately, it's cheaters. Cheaters are doing a better job than big tech. That's the state of AI in 2021. I don't know.